Hello, welcome. It's the Resilient Rooster. I'm here with Kevin Truong, who got ninth place at the Dallas Fort Worth Regional. He was playing True Draco, and let's see his deck profile.
So I was playing two Masterpiece. We played two Maiden, one Ignis Heat because he's limited, and the unorthodox place where we played one Draith. Draith has the Spiral Last Resorts effect where it says you can't target any other True Draco while he's on the field. Also, if any True Dracos would be destroyed, he'd be destroyed instead, and he actually floats, so he'll fetch you out another True Draco monster out of the deck. So he's pretty good. And then for the MVP of the day, we were playing three Amano Iwatos. Amano Iwatos pretty much states that you cannot activate any monster effects. So you're hand trap proof. So whatever you want to do, it's going to resolve. It's also a spirit monster, so it'll go back to your hand at the end of the turn. So during your opponent's turn, your Ignis Heat and your Majesty Maiden should still be going off. And that's a total of a 9 monster count. So let's go on to the spells. Spells, we're playing, of course, 3 diagrams. Best field spell in the game. And then to find those 3 diagrams, we played 3 terraformings. And then we play 3 Card of Demise. We like to draw. We played 3 Potted Dualities. Potted Duality is really good because if you don't have a Mono Iwato in your hand, you can go get a Mono Iwato and then resolve a Demise or a Terraforming or a Dragonic Diagram. Because majority of the time, nobody ashes a Potted Duality. Then we play 3 Disciples. It's very good. It gives you an extra tribute. You already use your regular normal summon on a Mono Iwato, so you need that. It also recycles cards, lets you draw one. So it's just good overall. This right here is Heritage. Heritage is basically, majority of the time, like a Pot of Greed. It usually lets you draw 2. Also an extra tribute summon. And then we got the 1-ofs. We play 1 Raigeki, 1 Dark Hole, and 1 Stormforth, our going second cards. And I believe that is 21 spell cards. Let's move on to the traps. So the traps, we have 3 Apocalypse, 1 Return. Apocalypse says half your monster's attack. I'm pretty sure I only used that effect once. I usually just pop it with Diagram with a mono out to pop a monster for free. This is a Monster Reborn, and I'm pretty sure that's why it got limited. We also don't play an extra deck because of the next card. We played 2 Monarchs Erupt, essentially skill drain for non-tribute monsters. So if you have a tribute monster, they're still going to get their effects. So you're still benefiting while your opponent can't be doing anything. I think it's probably one of the best cards. If I resolved it, most likely I won that game. And then we got the Solemn Brigade, 2 strikes, 1 warning, and the new addition, Judgment. And I believe that's a total of a 10 trap card count. And then
Let's see the side deck.
the side deck is 2 Raw Sphere Modes, 2 Zaphions, 2 Cosmic Cyclones, and since I don't play any hand traps, essentially this is my hand trap, 3 evenly matched for when I'm going second. And of course, then when I'm going first, I need to counter that with 3 Empyrean Walls. And the last card we play is 3 Anti-Spell in the side. Because we expected to see a lot of Pendulum players, either Magicians or Metaphors.
Alright, so what was your matchup like?
My matchups were pretty good throughout the day. I don't think I did bad at any of my matchups. But round 1 I was playing 60 card Lights 1 Vindreads. That's the one matchup I tied. I won game 1, but we went into game 2 into time, and he managed to get me in life by then. Round 2 I was playing Metaphors. Metaphors player put in too much pressure on the board without me having a Mono Iwato in my opening hand, game 1. So I pretty much lost that one. But game 2 and 3, it was pretty easy because we opened the Mono Iwato. The next round was round 3. Round 3, I played Paleo. Paleo is a pretty simple matchup. All you have to really do is tribute a trap card and a monster for Masterpiece, and I'm pretty sure you proceed to win. You shouldn't be losing that matchup. And then round 4, we played Pendulum Magician. Pendulum Magicians may be the easiest matchup as long as you have a Mono Iwato in your hand. Whatever pressure board they can put out on your field, like Vortex and whatnot, you're gonna be able to get over that just because you summon Amano and then you use Diagram, pop a trap. Trap's gonna pop the monster. Simple as that. The round five. Round five was the most unique deck of the day. Probably also the hardest matchup of the day. He was playing True King, Spellbook, Wind Witch, Frog, Astrograph. Why it was probably the hardest? It's so unexpected you don't know what to do. Round six is my loss. The one loss I had, I feel that I lost because, not because of my deck or because he was outplaying me. It was just because my draw was bad off Demise. I drew two monsters and a Solemn Judgment. That's not very good. The matchup was against ABCs. Round seven, I played Invoked Mech Knights. That duel was when I figured out that Amano Iwato, he stays on the field because Monarch's Erupt is on the field, so because it's essentially a skill drain. So he stayed on the field for a turn. Then my opponent proceeded to go off on his turn and then try to pop my Monarch's Erupt. So he was successfully in doing that, but I netted a card off of, I believe, either Ignis or Maiden. And then Iwato was now on the field still, and his effect comes back because he destroyed the Monarch's Erupt. And my opponent didn't realize that, and he couldn't activate anything still, so he pretty much proceeded to scoop from there. Round 8, we played Pendulum Magicians again. I played a guy from my locals, and it wasn't that bad. Game 1, he beat me. Game 2 and 3, I pretty much just took it, because, like I said, Pendulum Magicians, easiest matchup. Round 9, we played 60-card Infernoid. Not the most expected thing. He told me to go second. Game 2, I did not expect that, but I was managed to be able to win game 2 and 3, and we won that round 2.
All right. So, was there anything you want to change in your main deck?
In my main deck, I would say no. I feel that my main deck is pretty solid where it is. The only thing that I would probably change is maybe my side deck. Ross Remo didn't do me any justice all day. I only got it once, but I've never got to summon it. The only time when I actually got into my hand, my opponent only had one monster on the field.
All right. So, any shout outs you want to give?
Big shout outs to Taylor Massey. That man basically built this whole deck minus a few cards. Like, I just took out a few cards and I put in what I felt more comfortable with, and that's how I came up with the deck list, including through some playtesting with my boy Jimmy and my boy Alan. And we got to shout out those two guys. Helped me out a lot. Benny, of course, he helped me get my third my third Impure Iron Wall.